Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist here at Adobe, and I hope you're all doing well on this fancy Friday. We've made it through another week. If you are tuning in live here on Behance, let me know in the chat who you are and where you're tuning in from. We've got Bruce and Anita and Silene, Cody and Abdullah. Who else do we have in here? Great to see all of you. Golden Rose. Great to see everyone. Andrew. Wonderful. Friday. We're coming up to the end of this week of the Daily Creative Challenge. Let me go ahead and hop over to my screen and we're going to get going. So head on over to behance.net/challenge/XD. Get all the information about the Daily Creative Challenge. Go ahead and press that big blue register button at the top if you haven't yet. That way you're notified when we do release new challenges every single day, Monday to Friday, except the first Monday you're going to receive one of these new challenges. You can join us in our Discord community chat. I don't think I have it open right now, but trust me, it's there. Press the button. I've shown it every day. We have about 60,000 designers in Discord, and you can also share your work in there and get lots of good feedback. You can also watch us live Monday to Friday. I'm live 2 o'clock Pacific time during these challenges. And when I'm not live, we have a ton of content from people at Adobe, amazing artists, photographers, so on and so forth. Words are hard on Fridays. So watch a lot of Adobe Live stuff. You can learn so much. All right, so to recap very quickly, we started off the week with our pricing tables using repeat grids. We built out a sign-up form using components. Yesterday, we tackled financial charts and we used components, states, and auto-animate to bring them to life. And today we're going to be building out a landing page and we're going to be saving colors and character styles in our assets for quick editing. All right, go ahead and press that Get Started button so you can grab the template. I'm going to hop over to Adobe XD and here we go. So day number 4. Again, we're going to be designing a simple landing page for the web. Be sure to save your colors and character styles for easy editing, and I'll go over why that's so important as well. And if you want a quick recap on how to create this, I did upload a video to YouTube. You can go ahead and go to this link right over here after or even before some of these live streams. And here's some inspiration down here. All right, so we are going to get started. All right, sometimes words are hard every day. I agree, Golden Rose, I agree. Excuse me. All right, so we have this landing page. We have a 1920 by 1080 pixel artboard. And for this one, I encourage you to build out a landing page of something that interests you or something you enjoy or whatever it might be. So have fun with it. Go in whatever direction you feel fit. I'm going to be designing more of a cryptocurrency type landing page, which definitely has a style to it, right? If you've been on any of these landing pages, you know there's a style. So we're going to start nice and bold. I'm going to go to my fill picker right over here at the bottom right of the properties inspector. I'm going to switch over to a radial gradient. I know, fancy, right? Now the color in the middle, which is the one on the left-hand side, we're going to go for somewhat of a lighter blue. And then the color on the sides, we're going to go for more of a darker blue. Ooh, look at that. Kind of looking good. Now what I'm going to also do is grab this handle. Right now it's, it fits to the bounds of this artboard, but I want more of a circle, right? So I'm going to grab this handle at the very bottom right-hand corner and just make sure that it's more or less circular. I can hold down my shift key to constrain it. That way we just have a nice, even radial gradient. And it might be a little bit too harsh right now, so I'll just bring it back a touch so it's nice and subtle right about there, right? There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, now we can start building some of the content that's going to go inside of this landing page. And we're going to start at the top left-hand corner. I don't think there's been a single stream where I've gotten the directions left and right proper. One day I will get it. Top left-hand corner. And I might want an icon up there. Now to help us out throughout that process, we can go ahead and drag out some guides. I already have some guides here. I'm actually going to go ahead and clear my guides. If I select the artboard, guides, clear guides. So right on the left-hand side or the top, you can go ahead and drag out some guides. So view, drag them out. Let's go for, 140 pixels, something like that. You can drag one out from the top as well. Probably don't need 140 pixels on the top. I'll just go for, somewhere around 60. Maybe a little bit more. Let's try 70. something around that, and then drag one out on the other side as well, and we'll stick with 140 as well. All right. Now, at the top left-hand corner, got it right that time, we might want an icon. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into my plugins at the bottom left-hand corner of the interface, and I do have the Icons for Design plugin installed. Let's type out something like wallet. There's a few fun icons. This one could potentially work, right? You can change the color to white. It's a very simple icon. You can also use a third-party application like Nucleo if you do have icons of your own. Wallet. Let's see if there's any interesting ones here. This one looks pretty fancy, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. Oops, where did it go? There it is. Make it a little bit larger, and just take a quick peek at the prototype at the top left-hand corner. I did it again. I need to go to sleep. Top right-hand corner. It's looking a little bit small, and I think, you know, the padding on the side, it could work, but let's bring this down a touch. Makes it a little bit larger. There we go. We'll start with that. We can always make changes later on. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to start adding some text layers over to the right for our links. So with the text tool, shortcut key T, I'm going to go ahead and type out, let's say, whoa, that is a big text layer, right? Thankfully, we have this lovely handle at the bottom of your text layers. You can drag that on down. Phew. Markets. Let's make this quite a bit smaller. Let's try 26. Now we do have pop-ins selected as our typeface. It could potentially work, but I want to go a little bit more stylistic with this. So let's go for Ross quadratic. That's the word, quadratic. And I'm going to position this over to the left-hand side, right over here. And we may want some additional text layers. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek. Looks okay. So we want some additional text layers over to the right. Now we can go ahead and duplicate one over, dive in, make some changes, duplicate another one. We could potentially also use a repeat grid, but because each of these text layers are going to be different size based on the text we put in it, we want to potentially use a stack, right? So I'm going to pop this layer into a group, Command and Control G. I'll call this links. And then within the properties inspector, I'm going to enable a stack, which is going to define it as horizontal. And now I can dive in and duplicate. This one might be trade. Let's go ahead and make sure that these are left aligned. Duplicate. This will be swap. And then duplicate. Maybe we'll have resources. Right? Now, obviously, they're way too squishy, right? So what we want to do is over within the properties inspector, right now they're set to 10 pixels in between each one. You can also dive in and hold down your shift key and hover in between any of them and just stretch it on out, right? That looks a little bit better, right? Move that over. And now we have a navigation bar at the top. Now, at the very top right-hand corner, we might want maybe a button to sign in. So I'm going to grab the good old rectangle tool, draw one out. And I would encourage you as you're designing, especially for things like this where elements are so far apart, is, hit the play button at the top just to get a look, but also, have this screen, right, on another monitor or, somewhere else, maybe down here, just so you can see the updates as you're designing, right? So it's almost like a bird's eye view. That looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that size. And I'm thinking for this button, we're going to go bold again, right? We're going bold in many different directions. So I'm going to go ahead and sample a color or choose a color, something in this range here. This is a color, right? This is a color you don't typically use in web design, but for a service like this, maybe you will, right? Now for this, I'm going to go ahead and type out sign in with my text tool. I might make this a little bit smaller, and I'm going to sample this background color just so it all blends in really nicely. Looking good. Oh, maybe. I'm not completely digging the typeface of this particular text layer. So one of the other typefaces we're going to be using is Dunbar Low. And for this one, I might want to space out the characters a little bit more. The size isn't too bad. Whoops, 2 is not good. Maybe 24. Make sure it's centered. And pop it right about there. I might want to bump this up to maybe medium. There we go. That's a little bit better, right? Nice. All right, digging it. Now, what I want to do, because I might be using this on several different artboards and several different areas, I might want to turn this into a component. So I have both of these layers selected. In my assets, I'm going to go ahead and press the plus button beside components, and I'm going to name this button, right? Perfect. All right. Now, in this area over here, what we might want to do is we might want to start adding in maybe a header for this particular service. So I'm going to grab the text tool one more time, and instead of clicking, I'm going to click and drag so that I'm defining the width of this particular text box. It's going to set it to an auto height text box, and I can type out something like main header goes here. Now, obviously looking at this, there's a lot wrong with it. You definitely don't want to leave it at this. First thing we're going to do, we're going to left align it. Next, I'm pretty happy with the Dunbar typeface for this particular header, but I want to make it quite a bit bigger, right? And then we're going to change the color to white, and we definitely want to adjust the line height. Something like that, and maybe we'll even bump this up to bold. Give it a little bit more space, take a quick peek. That's looking okay. Maybe I'll bump it up a little bit more, just so we have a nice large header. All right, that could work. Now, one thing we definitely want to make sure to do is start saving some of these character styles to our assets. So I have this one saved, or I have this one selected. I'm going to press the plus button beside character style. And I can also do the exact same thing for these links at the top. I just have to save one of them. That way, if I do need to change the style, I can simply right click, press edit, switch over to Comic Sans, our favorite font, right? And it changed all of them. Should I leave it like that? No, probably not. All right, now down below, we may want an additional header, maybe a subheader, right? So I'm gonna duplicate this down. I'm simply holding down Alt or Option and dragging. And this definitely needs to be quite a bit smaller because this is our subheader. So we're gonna, whoops, that's the wrong way. We don't want that. We want the other way. Drop it down. And maybe for this one, possibly, we can switch up the typeface. But let's go ahead and just change subheader about this service goes here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the line height. And I would encourage all of you, as you are designing the landing page for whatever it is you're designing, put real copy in there. You know, if it's a landing page about Animal Crossing, write that in there. Or if it's an, I don't know, lights. I don't know, I just looked at a light. You know, put some information about lights or Animal Crossing inside of these particular areas, right? So the Dunbar typeface doesn't look too bad for this, but maybe just to shake it up a touch, maybe let's try going back to that Ross typeface. I'll drop this size a little bit more, play around with the line height till I'm happy, and pop it into place. All right, it's got a nice flow to it, right? You've got this Dunbar typeface, which is a little bit more traditional, and then you have this subheader, which the Ross typeface, it's definitely has more of a, you know, a stylistic vibe, not retro. That's definitely not it, but it's got a vibe to it. It kind of works. Of course, depending on your service, it may not work. If you're designing a landing page for a funeral home, probably you don't want to go for this typeface. Although I would be, that's a side challenge for all of you. Design a landing page for a funeral home with these typefaces. Could be fun, right? I don't know, maybe. All right, so now down below, we may want maybe a text field and a button for maybe to enter your email address. Maybe there's a wait list for this particular service. So I'm gonna grab the good old rectangle tool, drag one out across here. Usually I round out the corners of these particular shapes. This one I'm not going to, because I think it'll just kind of fit the vibe of this particular service. I'm going to turn off the border, and then on the inside, we might want to type out something like email address. Oh, I can't see it. Let's go ahead and sample one of these colors, and maybe we'll drop the opacity as well. And for this, we might want to go back to our Dunbar. And then over to the left, we may want an icon. So I'm going to hop back over to Nucleo. Of course, you can go to your Icons for Design plugin, envelope, And let's grab this icon here from Font Awesome. Shrink it on down. That just looks kind of cool, doesn't it? Let's take a quick peek. I'm thinking we might want to bump this up to medium just to kind of match it. Ooh, there we go. That's looking a little bit better. I'm going to bump it up in size a little bit more. I think 22 might do. All right, that could work. I might want to move this over just a little bit. I'm going to make sure to group some of these elements. I always do that. Command and Control G. And I'm going to call this text field. And like you did in the second challenge, you can also, create a component from this particular text field. Or if you still have text fields from that previous challenge, you can go ahead and do that as well. Just bring one in. So I have that looking pretty good. And now over to the right, I'm going to go ahead and grab the button that we created just a few moments ago, drag that over. I can definitely override this if I need to. I think it's a little bit too large. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring this on back. There we go. Is Nucleo a program or a website? It is a third-party icon manager. Someone might put the link in the chat, but it's a program you download. I have it on the Mac. I don't know if it's available on Windows. It might be, but yes. All right, let me just make sure things are lined up a little bit better. Perfect. All right, looking okay. Not great. Definitely need some more things. We need something. It's missing something over here, right? There's a big empty spot that we might want to fill up. And this is where you can definitely add in some illustrations. If you're an illustrator or an artist yourself, you can bring in one of your own. Or if you have access to Adobe Stock or any of these stock image websites, you can grab one from there. And I did grab this from Adobe Stock. It was an Illustrator file, which I can open in Adobe XD. I did make a few changes to it just so that everything looked fancy. And I'm going to just name this blockchain, and I can just copy this and I can paste it directly into XD. And all of this is vector. So if you take a look in these groups, all the groups from Illustrator came on over, which is wonderful. And I can position this into place. And again, because it's vector, I can dive in. I can make it larger if I need to. There we go. And I can also move some of these objects around. So maybe I want this group of things, computer or whatever this is, move it over there. This one is blocking the sign-in experience. So I'm going to select, dive into the group, select this, move it on down a little bit. Move this over. And you can also delete some if you need to, right? That's the beauty of working with vector designs. And once you do have your imagery in place, you might feel that maybe your headers are a little bit too small still. So I'm just going to enlarge this a touch more, space out the line height, move it up a touch. The subheader is looking pretty good. I'm going to move that up a little bit. This is looking okay. 22, 24. There's a little bit of a difference in the size of the text. So I can either make this one a little bit larger or this one a bit smaller. Maybe I'll make this one a bit larger. All right. Now down below at the very bottom, we may want to display some social media information, for example. So I'm going to grab the text tool one more time, connect with us, change this color to white. We might be able to make it, let's see. We don't want that area too large, but we can probably make it a little bit larger. And then we might want some social media icons. So I'm going to hop over to the Icons for Design plugin. Let's try Twitter, for example. Bring that in there. And for whatever reason, sometimes the Icons for Design plugin, when you do add in an icon, it shoots it all the way up there at the top left-hand corner. I don't know exactly why, but it does that. It happens, right? And then we might want Facebook. Change the color to white. And then maybe Telegram. Do any of you use Telegram? Or maybe they have Discord too. We use Discord. They do. Look at that. So we'll just add these in there, change the color of these to white. Space them out, and our smart guides and smart padding are helping us out. And Bruce is asking, is it easy to change or move items when, where did this go? When after making them, turning them into a component. Well, it depends on what you're talking about. So for example, this sign in button, right? It still remains linked to this particular main component. So if I do make changes to this, I can, round out the corners, and you're noticing the one down here changes as well. And depending on if you've made overrides or not. Now, this one over here, I did override the sign in text layer. So as I'm moving it in the main component, it's not moving it here because I made that override. But if I were to change the color of this, right, it's still going to remain in sync. So as long as you don't make too many overrides, you can definitely, make changes to the main component. It's going to push it to all of the instances. So we've got some social icons down here. I'm going to make sure to group these, call this social icons, and I might want to turn a stack on for this. And it's going to automatically define it as horizontal. Let's bump this up. And I can easily dive in here and just swap these around if I need to, right? All right. Abir says, if you select the object before choosing the icon, it will stick beside but not. So yeah, that's what usually happens. But I did have this text layer selected when I did choose one of those icons, and it still shot it up at the top left-hand corner for some reason. So most times it does that, but sometimes it does not. All right. So our landing page is looking pretty good, right? Now, what you can do if you really want to get creative is add additional sections. So if you select your landing page at the top left-hand corner, you can drag it out to make it a little bit longer. And this over here to the left is your viewport height. So anything above this is going to be visible at all times when you play the prototype like this, and anything below will be visible upon scroll. So if you did want, you can grab, let's say, a rectangle, draw one out. Maybe we'll give it a little bit of color. There we go. Then you can start putting additional information. So maybe let's go ahead and grab this guy here. Place one here. We might have to make some changes to that shadow, but it is vector, so you can definitely do things like that. Maybe I'll set this to overlay. Interesting. Soft light maybe? I don't know. We'll see. And then maybe we'll grab a header up here. We'll change this color, move it on up in the stack. And this could be feature 1. So you're starting to highlight some of the features. Or maybe we'll do, let's say, markets, right? And this will be more information about markets. And one thing that we're not going to discuss during these challenges are anchor links. So for an example, you might want when someone taps on this markets button, that it's going to automatically go down to this section of the web page. So if you hop into prototype mode right here at the top and select markets, you can drag this blue handle to this object here, right? And then in the properties inspector, you do have a scroll to type. And let's go ahead and change this to maybe ease in and out. And then you don't want to get too fancy with your anchor links. You just want it to just work, right? Take you down to where you want. So I'm going to go ahead and press that, click on this, and it'll take me down to that section. You can add additional sections if you want to, right? Let's do one more very quickly. Drag one down. Maybe we'll change the color of this to, I don't know, red. That certainly doesn't work. No, none of this works. Maybe black. We'll do that, right? And then we'll have one more of these guys over here. Let's flip that back. And this might be trade, just more information about the trading experience on this particular platform. And again, you can select this object, drag it on down, and all the other properties should be okay. There we go. And you can also view. There we go. And one more thing you can do is you can set up a back to top interaction. So if I'm going to just create a circle for now, or something. Of course, you can create an arrow or whatever it might be. Position it maybe right about here. And you would probably put an icon in there or whatever it is. We don't have time, so just imagine it's an arrow that says back to top or something. You can fix it in a fixed position when scrolling, right? And then in prototype mode, you can drag this handle to, let's say, go over here. Maybe this icon up here. So that when you're scrolling down or you go to, let's say, trade, that icon's going to be there. You can press on it and go right back to the top. And you can also adjust the Y offset, or you can do it directly on canvas so that it goes directly to the top. And one more time, and there we go. So have fun with it, get creative. You have the whole weekend if you prefer. I'm going to be relaxing on the weekend, and I would recommend that all of you do relax. But if you have an inkling to design on the weekend, have fun with this landing page. I would love to see what you come up with. Send me a tweet or post it in Discord or in Behance with the keyword XD Daily Challenge. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will be back next week with more challenges, and have a great weekend. I'll see you later.